What's up, fam? Thanks for tuning in once again, or for the very first time. I'm Jasper the Filmy, and I'm really excited to do this review on Ma Rainey, a fantastic story. And I'm not gonna spoil anything because if it did just come out this Friday, and I want you to see this film while you can, and you can learn a good little bit from it. It's a story that was created from the great theater playwright August Wilson. And if you guys aren't familiar with August Wilson and his stories, well, you're gonna learn a few things in this review right here without me spoiling the story. So let's get it. All right, guys, so I'm not gonna spoil this film. I promise you I'm not, but I am gonna give you a little bit of context for it if you aren't aware of the backstory behind the film. Because if you get a little bit of this context, then it might help you look at this film a little differently when you do see it. And of course, if you weren't aware of the context and you did see the film, now you're going to look at it differently and probably want to see it again. Now, I will say, if you haven't seen this film, definitely see this film because it does really show some great acting, shows some really deep parts that a lot of films somewhat doesn't hit on today, at least not consistently. But this story was written by a very famous playwright by the name of August Wilson. You may be aware of that, you may not be aware of it, but August Wilson wrote a lot of plays in his time about the African American community and some of the struggles that they had gone through. And honestly, he was kind of ahead of his time because a lot of the things that he talked about were kind of things that we go through and experience today. Definitely a genius. If you are a theater major or a creative writing major, you know about August Wilson. You probably read one of his plays or acted in one of his plays or wrote a paper on one of his plays. By the way, shout out to Dr. John Tuttle at Francis Marion University. He was actually the individual that introduced me to August Wilson, and it changed my life, to say the least. But this film is going off of a very famous play from August Wilson, Ma Rainey, Black Bottom, and this was really a really good play because it was really breaking down the era of the blues generation and the blues artists that were pretty much putting out a movement through their music, like what we see today through Black Lives Matter. Because during that time period, there wasn't going out in the streets saying Black Lives Matter and being defiant and demanding justice. It just did not happen. But there was one weapon that practically society could not tame, could not shut up, could not control, but wanted a piece of, and that was their music, and that was their art, and that was their expression. And that was something that kind of made this story really special. And that is something I would say, I'm gonna be biased in this moment. I think the film may have not hit that completely to the full extent. I'm not saying it's a bad film because it's definitely a great film and I definitely encourage you to watch it. But I would say if you do watch this film, you definitely need to probably go on Amazon. I'll add a link in the description just to get a trial so you can, hear the play or even, maybe see some of the older monologues of the play itself and read it. I mean, it might be 2020 or 2021 or wherever, but we're not too far advanced where we can't read books and plays. And this is one that I definitely would encourage you to read, soak on, and think. Another good sentimental value about this is also another backstory that kind of personally resounds within Denzel Washington and Chadwick Boseman. Literally, Fences was another film that Denzel Washington spearheaded with Viola Davis, and this film was in a way going to be a pass of a baton to Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace, from Denzel Washington, which he did produce this film. But this is one of the reasons why you're seeing Chadwick pretty much in this light. It's because this is pretty much a symbolic gesture from Denzel Washington, allowing someone that is coming up, that is really talented, to share something really special. Now, I will say this story definitely does show a really interesting characteristic about Chadwick, and I think it's a little bit more bittersweet now because he's not here. And that's probably going to make us look at the film a little differently now, look at Chadwick a little bit differently now. And Viola Davis is Viola Davis. I mean, she's hands down a great actor. But I would say definitely when you watch this story, definitely have some things considering into your mind about, the story that is kind of not being told a lot. And another thing you definitely are going to want to consider would be the symbolism in the conversations like I said, I can't spoil it for you, but I'm probably gonna have to do another video talking about the symbolism in the conversations. This is something that an August Wilson fan would know. So what I definitely would encourage you to do is to stay tuned. I'm gonna add a video about that coming soon. I always do reviews on films on Mondays, so I hope you did like this brief review. If you did like it, please do me a favor, hit that like button. Of course, hit the subscribe button so that when I do upload that video, you'll be notified about it when you hit the notification bell. So until I see you guys for that next video, if it's not up there for you to click on, just capture life and create visions.